G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Eno from Fantasy Take TV. Today we're going to be going and revealing my team for 2023. Only a few days left to round one, recording this just on a Sunday, and we're premiering tonight over on YouTube. But yeah, I'm pretty settled with where I am now. I've, had to decide over the structure as the main point over the last sort of week or so, but I've sort of settled on that, and it's really just fixes with rookies, of course, over the next week. But I do have some concerns there, which I'll go over, in certain lines and reasoning as to why I'm going with the team I've got. So I'll waste no further time. D1 for me is Sam Doherty. Now it's only D1 just by $500 measly to Jordan Dawson, who I may as well put him in, is also in my team. So these are the two defenders I've sort of landed with, and Dawson really hasn't left my side at all. It's more so Tom Stewart who's made way for Doherty. Just with Doherty obviously had a massive preseason game. It's not totally based off that, but for those who played 5 or 6 years ago when he was fit and firing, he's a 110 plus sort of player. And to be fair, Stewart can do that as well. He just always seems to have a couple of problems, that go wrong, whether it's missing a game here or there. He always seems to. And look, Doc, I've said in the past, is not someone I'm totally, just for whatever reason, confident in playing every game himself, but he did it last year. He's had a full preseason now as well, and he's firing, fit, ready to go, and he's scoring. His ceiling is massive, and Dawson just ever reliable. Got the captaincy now, which, in the past maybe is a bit of a worry. I think that's more so with the midfielders, but look, he's probably the one. Look, Doherty won't get touched. They've got an unbelievable midfielder. He's not really going to get any attention, but Dawson can. We saw it last year from Hawthorn and Finn McGuinness in, I think, round 8 or something. He salvaged an 80 in that game. I think he had 10 tackles, but they have him in round 5 in the gather round, I believe. He's probably going to get it again. So if we can, that's the only concern really starting him. Other than that, you shouldn't really be totally concerned, but he might get some attention. But hey, maybe Rory Laird finally gets some this year. So they're my two defenders. And then we sort of go straight down to Elliot Yeo, who I don't really think I need to speak too much about. He's going to be in pretty much everyone's side. The only thing I can see going wrong with him would be injury. Then we go to Liam Jones, and not someone I was super keen on, even after the weekend just gone and his big game that he had. But this is a line where I am a little bit concerned. We do have, it seems like, in the last 2 weeks, we've probably thought we had a lot of options with the rookies, with, the two Brizzy boys. One of the Blues rookies, it looks like they're going to get a game. Jinby, Constable. But I am concerned about a couple of those. The Brizzy guys, DR said it himself. He's still concerned. He doesn't have McKenna in his team. Even Wilmot, their job security is a bit shaky. I think whichever Carlton boy gets picked, their job security, they'd be right on the edge of, a poor performance or two. They could get dropped. And even Constable too. He's in the team purely because of Will Powell and Lockie Weller, who are sort of fighting to get fit. Probably won't be by round 1, but they could get fit over the next couple of weeks and force him out of the team. So I am concerned about their sort of mid to long term job security, and that could really leave you thin in defence. So Liam Jones just shores that up. His job security is A1. He looked to be back to his best, or hasn't missed a beat sort of with his year off. And yes, he's 228k. He's key defender. He's going to probably be a slow burn. Going to be some volatility with his scores, of course, but he's going to lock down a position in my backline that I won't need to worry about. So yes, the scoring, we may see a 30 or a 40, but he has shown in the past he can go big. And if you look at his sort of run in 2021, I think it was, he's capable of a 100, a 140, but then obviously also a 20 or 30. I think he dropped a 12 or something. So with him, just be patient. Know that he's just going to lock down a position in your backline that you won't have to worry about and expose the bench to, because I really am quite concerned with what could happen with some of those rookies. So, I mean, obviously we've got to feel our team out with them, and Jinby's going to be on field for everyone. Constable, I feel the same, but as I said, he might find his way out of the team in a few weeks' time. Who knows? Obviously, let's just see how he goes and hopefully perform as well. And then I do have McKenna, provided teams and whatnot, and I'm just at this point making sure I have enough cash for Cowan as well. Just in case he does get named over Chincotta, you do want to just make sure you don't have to blow up your team to find the sort of 15k that'll cost you. So that's my defence. Really hasn't changed too much besides probably Liam Jones. and Doherty I probably switched even a little bit ago, but Stewart did find his way out of my team. I kind of went back to this structure. I, for some period of time, had just one key, one primo defender, but I just don't think that's viable, and I'd probably advise against it if you're like pushing McKenna to the field and then have, say, Wilmot as well in your team. Like, it just could be a bit of a worry with a couple of those, could be coming the sub or getting dropped in the coming weeks. So that's what I'm rolling with in defence. Let's move on to the midfield now. I did have a team, a couple of weeks ago or even 10 days ago with both big boys in the midfield. I've had to drop one of them, and the one I've chose to keep is Rory Laird. I just think his consistency scores in a number of ways. Not saying Clary doesn't. Let's be honest, these two you really can't go wrong with. But I've picked Laird just for that little bit of safety in floor, maybe, because it's really hard to argue one way or the other, let's be honest. But I had to drop one to sort of fund the rest of the team that you'll see. So I just chose to get rid of Clarion, and it'd be someone just the top of my watch list to get in very early on in the season. They do have a really good run starting at about round 5 or 6. So that's who I've decided to keep, and will be, obviously captaincy scores is a big thing. It'll be VC and C will be in and around Rory Laird nearly every week. So yeah, that's who I've chosen for M1. Bont, going to be in a lot of people's teams. I don't think, surprisingly, his ownership's at 32%. That should be a lot higher, to be honest. It should really be higher than Clary's, in my opinion, for obviously the price, a big factor. But it really should be up around that 40-50%, but it's not. But I think amongst the sort of good coaches, it will be. So look for a primed year. Enough's been said about him. He's not going to be required as much in the forward line. He's going to play more midfield, yada, yada, yada. Don't need to speak too much more on him. Maybe the next guy, fits that category too, Tom Green, who just keeps getting glaringly good and positive reviews over his preseason. He's building really, really well. His tank's improved. So at 530k with the really soft draw that I'm sure you've heard GWS have as well, I think he can really start the season on fire. It's just whether or not, or it's more how long, can we hold on to him for? Is it a full year at M8? Can he go 110 plus? Or will he drop off around the buys maybe like he sort of did last year? And that was a big, big drop off. Let's hope it's not something like that. But, at his buy, he does have the last one, I believe. We might have to flip him, monitor that as we go. So pretty happy picking him. And then we sort of get into the mid-prices. So Hopper, not one I need to speak too much about. You would have heard me already. He's going to get the full CBA role. He's going to be pretty much the number one CBA mid, I believe. Toronto can play elsewhere, but he'll be bulk of the midfield too. But Hopper really is that in and under midfield bull. And look, the only concern I have with him personally is just his lack of footy in the last 18 months. And he might be still nursing that knee that he's had issues with. But all the word is he's raring to go. So I don't see any reason that you can come up with to avoid him. Warpool is someone that's been in and out of my team quite a lot. So as I was talking about with Clary and having two of those big guys, having to drop one has been down to a Warpool to fund also the forward line, which you'll later see. So it just gives the team more balance. There is a bit of a lack of mid-rookies on the bench too, which we'll get to. So it just gives you more of a balance. Yes, 12 primos down to 11 doesn't always feel nice. I myself used to, back in the day, starting 6 big guns in the midfield and, just loving all the points they'd get you every week. But game sort of changed, and I think Warple can do 85, 90 plus, and whilst it might not be a smashing success, I think he can make enough to make it worthwhile. It's going to be average or hard to watch at times, but I think he can, with the role, get the points on field really required, lock down a position, and make enough money to flip him. Probably is one of my first upgrades. So I'm not totally upset starting Warple. Yes, there might be some bad times, but I think if given enough in midfield time, which it looks like he will be to start the year, then I think he can outperform that quite easily. Then we sort of finish off with your classics: Ashcroft, Cam McKenzie, and I do have Will Phillips on field. So that's pretty much the difference there. If someone has an extra midfielder right over a defender or whatever, or a forward, they'll push Will Phillips to the bench. And I'm not upset starting Will Phillips. Looks like he's going to get a fair chunk of mid-time, maybe down the line. Won't want to field him as much, but we'll see. I'm going to give him a go to start the season, and then if I have to manoeuvre things, I will. So, he's in the team for now. Oscar Baker's one that will be on everyone's mid-bench looking to get a game at the Dogs. Alwyn Davies on my mid-bench as well. And I'm really tossing up with this last position. So this is something that's not totally set. I'll spoil it now. I have Radigalia at R3, so I don't have the loop. And thinking if Chesser doesn't get a gig round one, he might not be too far away and can be my loophole for the first month or so until, he's ready to go. Not totally set on that. If another playing, mid-rookie that looks decent and a good option, not one that, might have flaky job security pops up, I'll probably go with him, but that's also because I'm not going with the loophole at R3. So bit of juggling there to go with the rookies, but of course that's always the case before we know the teams. Then in the rucks, no surprises here to anyone that knows me, and the big Shrek Darcy didn't need much of an excuse to pick him, but I've sort of got one, and it looks like he's going to get still majority ruck time, which we saw in the first practice game. Yes, Luke Jackson didn't play the second, still dominated, of course, and really just a lack of the other options. I don't really like Wits at the price. Tim English does worry me a bit with his body. Just getting through a full season, that's just like almost a locked-in trade at some point. Whereas, people will say that to me about Shrek, but he's played 21 the last 2 years. Yes, he gets knocks, but he does play through them, and he, got subbed out once, was concussion, so he had to miss the next week. So it's like you can't be totally caught up on that. Look, Ruckman they all get injuries. It's an injury-riddled position. They banging bodies, crashing packs. I just think he's at his price, his upside scoring wise is the highest. So, we saw him do it 2 years ago, going almost 120 across the full season. So I'm going to back him in. If a trade needs to happen, so be it. I think, gone are the years of the Gaundy, and just being able to lock that in and not worrying about having to trade once in the ruck line. I think we're just all too used to that. That's not sort of what it was back in the day. I was starting, like Leuenbergers and Sanderlands, and there was injuries in the past. And Sauce Jacobs one year was a good ruckman. Obviously Goldie when he was firing. So, look, Gaundy for 3 or 4 years just got everyone too comfortable, I think, and we think, we shouldn't be spending trades in the rucks, but the reality is you're probably going to have to. We've got Pless there for a while. And then, as I said, I got Radigalia there for now. It's just sort of because I've had some leftover cash once the team is finished. So not fully decided on that yet. Forward line, Dunks, do I really need to say too much more about him? Rosie and Taranto, I think this is very, very common amongst people, around the community, especially now Discord. Most of them are locked into everyone's team, and look, ownership reflects that. 68, 46 for Rosie, 56 for Taranto. Makes sense, really. I don't see a problem with it. And another man creeping up, obviously after his big preseason, is Errol Gould, and wow, sitting at 35% now, so pretty much risen 32 or 3% since his big game, and stole a lot of ownership from probably Cogs, who's down at 17 now. So, look, I don't think it's buying into the hype too much, jumping on him. Look, the ownership now makes it easy enough to know that you're not going to get totally burned if it goes pear-shaped, but he's got to play more midfield time. It really has to. 10% CBAs last year, that's got to rise, you'd imagine, to at least 30, and obviously we'll be hoping for 40 plus. Averaged 85, without it, with no mid-time, so he can definitely do it. Just whether or not Horse, doesn't stuff around with him too much, so got him for now. And then probably the two ones that need some more talking would be Tanner Bruin, who initially I wasn't really too keen on. I will admit, more so because of just what Chris Scott can do. And their midfield setup's it's quite strange now. Obviously losing Selwood, but they've always rotated quite a few guys through there. Like obviously Guthrie's probably one of the mainstays. But, obviously Blitzarves does it at times. Atkins has really worked himself into that role, through the VFL, and then obviously proving himself the last couple of years to be worthy of the spot in there. Danger, of course, who spends, some time at forward. So it's hard to predict, but I think just based on his preseason performance, was a report today from Matt Forrest saying he's just almost pretty much a lock for round one, going to get that mid-time. I think it's enough to give him a go. So, he's obviously jumped ahead, or it seems to be, the likes of Parfitt and, Menegola, those sorts of guys already. So I'm going to give him a go. I'm not totally in love with it like some others are, but I think it's, at the price, seems to be getting the role. It's worth a punt. in the forward line, and obviously to keep a rookie off the field. So other one, Sam Flanders, who we sort of know his role more, and that just is high half forward with a little bit of mid-time, not too much really. So he's a bit easy to read, but it also might be some more fluctuation in scoring. Of course, looks to be like he's an absolute ball magnet. Did it in the VFL the back half of last year, but you can't get 30 every week off the half forward line. Like, there will be weeks where he doesn't, but I think he kind of just needs to go 75 for us plus. So I think he can do that. It shows that he can find the footy everywhere, and I'll back him in to start the season. And finishing off the bench, I've got McLean on the bench. So a few of you will have him on field. For now, I've got him on the bench, and as I sort of said with Phillips, he is someone that I could, as I said, move to midfield with Alwyn Davey, field if need be. If it looks like his role is actually going to be pretty decent, but I'm still going to start him at this point just to, just to make sure he is quite highly owned. He is someone that I think can well outperform that price. Of course, it's just if given the role, we'll wait and see what happens. But I'd just rather start him. I do have this cash, as I said. Like, if I was to do Radaglia down to a Madden or something, what really do I get out of that? I could get another mid-pricer or something, but I don't really like, someone like a Finn Callahan or something in the midfield. Don't know. Or if, Chesser, maybe just someone like a Philippou or something like that. I'm just not totally set on someone like that. Or, Ollie Hollands might get a go for the Blues. But for now, that's obviously something that's a work in progress. Wait for the team sheets. But we'll leave that as my team for now. So let me know what you thought. I'm sure you already are in the comments. But I'm pretty just happy with the setup. The safety in defence I was talking about earlier. Constable, as I said, I could see him getting dropped at some point. Same with, McKenna or something. So having that assurity of only being exposed by one of them. Like, if you had Constable on field, McKenna, even both of the Brizzy boys, I just don't think that's totally viable, or it's a bit risky, even if they all do play to begin with, because it really could change quite quickly. And then Will Phillips on field, I'm pretty fine with to begin with. I'm going to give him a go. He's going to get the midfield role and minutes. And then from then, if I have to field Oscar Baker, if I have to move McLean to the mids, give him a go, I'm happy to do so. So, that's my team. Let me know what you think below. What's the area of concern that you've got most of your team? What picks really grind your gears over the next few days? It's not long now. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like 80. Pulling out the coupe at the lot.